At the beginning of these discussions, we talked about the fact that it's responsibility of leadership to be going somewhere. I mean, the whole definition kind of leaders means there's somebody out front. We're going someplace, right? We're going somewhere. Well, where we're going, all of us, is the future. It's not what it used to be. All right? But we need people who can study the future. Study the future. Look at the future just like it's a customer. A lot of people do. The Department of Defense of this nation has a assistant secretary or some kind of big title. An institutional research or strategic research, whatever it is, and they are looking and planning the wars of the future. Now, I don't mean they're planning who we're going to attack in the future, but how are they going to be fought? Right? We have people who are looking at world travel patterns. Right? The United States Institute of Health, the communicable disease people, look at world travel patterns and where people are going and coming from, and looking at the possibility of the spreading of certain diseases that we're not ready to handle. Certain parasites that come, that if you live in Burma or Thailand, they work fine. You live with them, but you come here and other people get them here and they don't do so well. So we study the future. One way of doing it is just to follow the trends. Now, it doesn't always work very well. Let me give you an example. We know, and we have known for a very long time, that our population is getting older and living longer. But as a nation, we've not done anything about taking care of this longer life that people are going to have. Indeed, instead of doing something to solve the costs of Social Security payments, I mean, we've been borrowing the money and taking the money, the Congress have, I haven't, and using it on other things. But we are going to have to put money into the Social Security system and the Medicare system to support what it's supposed to do. And I certainly refuse to buy this thing that it is an unwarranted entitlement program. I've been working since I was 9 years old and putting money into Social Security since then. And my employers put money in Social Security since then, and I got it coming. All right? It's not like I'm taking it from someone else. This is money that went in there from me. Now, because we're getting older, they say there's not enough money. Well, change the system. You know, right now I think it's about $105,000. I'm not exactly sure of the number, but in this particular date, which is May the 10th, I think, 2012, it's about $105,000 cap. So we pay Social Security on the first $105,000 we make. And we pay none on the money above that. So somebody who makes $5 million is paying the same amount on Social Security that you're paying. And you're making $60,000 or $105,000, right? So take the cap off. Take the cap off so Secure will have plenty of money. Forever. But we see the problem and don't do anything about it. So we can follow trends and make predictions and begin to work on solving problems. We can see the future from certain demographic trends. We can estimate from trends what will happen to communities as they get older, as populations change. Right? There was a city in central Illinois that near where I grew up by the name of Decatur, Illinois. It was named an all-American city back when I was a boy in those days in the 50s and the 60s. Beautiful little city, home of A.E. Staley. Caterpillar moved in. Firestone moved in. Brought thousands of more employees. The city used to have Eisenhower High School, MacArthur High School, Decatur Central High School, and another one, I don't remember its name, and a big Catholic school. And they were all good schools. They're down to one. And the school has lots of problems. Violence, drugs, dropouts, poor performance. Now what causes us, and the city has a horrible crime rate. What caused this city to change so much? Okay? And you can take a look at places all over the United States, the way it was, the way it is, and measure all the demographic and economic changes between the two, and see if there is a correlation that if we do this, this, and this, we're going to end up with this problem. All right? And then you can work on solving them. So you can predict the future and work on stopping it from happening. Now you don't only follow the trends, you see, what caused the trend to happen? That's what you really want to know, is what causes the trends to develop. You analyze the causes and the impacts. When I was a boy, the only credit you could get was to buy a house, buy equipment for your factory, and on your seed to plant your farm. The only credit you could get if you were in a little farm town. You couldn't get credit to go buy a car. Real estate, machinery, or seed. Because then the bank would take part of your crop to get their money back. But all of a sudden, at the end of World War II, we started giving credit. At the end of World War II, we had a huge manufacturing capacity. We could build anything. And we had learned in New York City about advertising. From the Germans, we had learned about propaganda. And we learned about survey research. And New York City combined all of that. So look, we could manufacture and sell anything, but nobody had any money. Well, the war had eaten up all the money. Then we went into Korea, and there even less money. And so some wise people in New York City said, well, let's just give them credit. And now we know what happened. We're $1 trillion in debt, not the government, us, the consumers. So you can study the cause of events. What caused this? And then you can work to try to cure it or prevent it. I'm telling you, the credit card companies go on college campuses and they practically give you the cards. Go spend $500 free practically to get you hooked. The cheapest beer in America is around a college campus. Get you hooked drinking this brand of beer. Another way to study the trend is to get 100 people to write a paper on it. What do you think is going to happen in the next 20 to 30 years? Give them a paper to write. What will happen in the manufacturing industry? What will happen in transportation? What do you think will happen in terms of war and peace and food and population over the next 100 years? And you give it to people who study this. Wouldn't do any good to ask me. That's not my field. But there are people who study population trends in food and distribution networks. What's going to happen? And give me 3 or 4 scenarios. Give me a scenario with global warming A, global warming B, global warming C and D. How bad is it going to get? And what are we doing about food and water and distribution systems? And then you will get 100 folks from around the world, experts, who will give you this paper. And then you circulate these papers among each other and get comments and consolidate. And then at the end, you've got a booklet or a book of the most likely developments in the future and what we need to prepare for. You can study the future. Now there's one final way. Is you decide what you want the future to be, and then you write a plan on how to get there. You can put all of this stuff away, all these scenarios, all the problems. You design the world the way you want it to be, or one small piece of it. And design the plan to get us there. You come up with the goals and the objectives and the milestones and the deadlines. This is what we'll do to reach the future that I have designed. So yeah, we can take the future and look at it just like we look at the marketplace today, just like we look at our family today. We can study the future and therefore build it.